Helen from Spokane, Washington wants to know if there's a different way to make a strawberry cheesecake. Yes, there is, and I've got just the recipe. And my water bath method guarantees never to have a soggy crust. You don't even need aluminum foil or a springform pan. So while your oven is preheating to 375, let's go hear about cheesecake from Martha and Mary. Cheesecake has a long and fascinating history that dates back thousands of years. Greek physician wrote a book on the art of making cheesecakes around 230 AD. That's biblical times, folks. Hey Mary, I think we could do something with this for like the dessert or something. The Greeks would think it's cool. Shh, I'm trying to hear what Jesus has to say. Really, I think we need 4 of these. Matthew, Mark, Luke, Peter. All right, I'll just go get the unleavened bread and wine. So the cheesecake didn't evolve to what we know it for nearly 2,000 years. So you start with the crust, which is 31 vanilla cookies, filling and everything. Just put them right on in. Give them a whiz. And add 5 tablespoons of butter. Here I am, like my swirly pants. Add half a cup of pecans for a nice meaty texture and flavor. And pulverize it right on in. Now, instead of a springform pan, which is what a lot of cheesecake recipes call for, I'm just using an 8-inch with a removable bottom. And it'll come out. You'll see. Then spread your crust mixture around an 8-inch pan with that removable bottom. I use a measuring cup to help spread it out evenly. Ooh, I was playing a little rough with Susie Q kitty cat this week. She's queen boss of the house some days. And I found that if I spread it gradually, I get a more even layer. So I slowly work it up the sides. Then bake for 8 to 10 minutes or until the edges are golden brown. So now you take 4 bricks of cheese. When they're at room temperature, they'll be nice and soft. And here's my cheat way to bring everything to room temperature. Plop them in hot water and they'll warm right up. And if you're having fun watching this, leave a comment about my pants below. And I use the beater with the scraper side. It helps a little, but I'll still go treasure hunting for lumps later with the spatula. Then add 1.5 cups of sugar. Look how nice and smooth and creamy it is. This batter is gonna turn out great. And add in 3 tablespoons of flour and the zest of a lemon. And guess what I did with the rest of my lemon? And be careful not to grate all the way down to the white part, because that's bitter. Then add in 4 eggs and 1 egg yolk. Add in an egg, beat it all the way in, add in the next. You add eggs into a regular cake batter, just like this. All right, and then just give it one final scrape, just to make sure nothing is hiding. Nothing worse than a cheesecake with a big old cream cheese lump somewhere. Set that aside and now take 200 grams of fresh strawberries. And you want to make sure you take out the white part because that's bitter. And just put in the fruit part. 200 grams of diced strawberries is the place you want to be. And add a 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of strawberry extract, and 8 drops of red food coloring. Look guys, they stopped making harmful red food coloring back in 1972, so you're fine. If you're a little leery of adding it in, wait until later, because you'll see you need to add it because it's pink otherwise. Remember, we eat with our eyes and we want a dramatic swirl. Now puree it. I'm using an immersion blender, but a regular drink blender will work and a food processor will work. You can even use a mashed potato masher thing. And pass it through a fine mesh sieve to get out all the seeds and any lumps we might have missed. And don't forget the bottom. You take a cup of the batter and add it in to the strawberries. And instead of dipping in the whole thing and make it a big mess, I'm just going to use a big old soup spoon. This part really isn't super scientific. Mix that all together. All right, and then just add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla to your regular batter. To get your batter to swirl, start layering it in, alternating between the two. I use a soup spoon handle to give it an extra swirl around. And I don't go near the edge because that's very delicate and can collapse into the middle. Be careful not to touch the crust or it could chip into your nice smooth batter. And take it right up to the brim. Be daring. Now we got to get out all the air bubbles. You just take a kitchen towel and drop it gently. Your big air bubbles will come to the top. And then you poke them. This is also insurance against cracks. Cracks tend to happen around the bubbles. I place a 10-inch cake pan full of super hot tap water on the bottom rack. And this is going to create the steam we need to gently bake the cheesecake. Then carefully place it in the middle rack and bake for 2 hours. Then turn off the oven and let it sit in there for an hour. Do not, I repeat, do not open the door at all during the baking time, or I'll have to write you a ticket. Then after that time period, take it out and let it cool on the counter until it comes to room temperature. That's about 3 hours. It cooled down some in the oven, and during that hour, you can see how little the middle jiggles. This part too will set right up as it cools, and then chill it in the refrigerator for 8 hours or overnight. Now for the strawberry topping, you start with half a cup of pureed strawberries, and that's 200 grams, half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and a 1/4 cup of water. Whisk this constantly over medium heat until it thickens and leaves a distinct path behind your spatula. Then stir it for 1 to 2 minutes longer to cook out any cornstarch flavor and make sure it'll come out thick enough, not like soup. And strain it through a fine mesh sieve and get at all the deliciousness off the bottom. Add a tablespoon of unsalted butter and 8 drops of red food coloring. And put it in the refrigerator to chill. Give it a stir every once in a while. It'll get lonely. And while the sauce is chilling in the refrigerator, I'm just gonna chop up some strawberries, about a cup. I like to chop them. That way when you go to slice into your cheesecake, you're not having the berries kind of go all wonky and everything. It just makes it a little bit easier. Now for the whipped cream, so easy. Take half a cup of heavy cream and a 1/4 cup of sugar. I like my whipped cream sweet. Whisk those together until it stiff peaks. Pipe it around the edge. I'm using a Wilton 1M. This is kind of like building a dam for the strawberry topping. Now fill up your dam. The topping will set up some overnight in the refrigerator if you're making this ahead of time. And there you go, another fun masterpiece. Leave a comment, would you? Because I love reading your comments.